Coding challenge review, beginners. So what we got here? First of all, round. Yeah, we have a number, and then we need to check what's the rounded equivalent. Yeah, the closest integer. So pretty simple, right? Round. We got a number. Return what? And the number, yeah? And that's it. That should be it, correct? And it works, yeah? Easy peasy. So what you did here, math.round, yeah, pretty much the same thing, right? Num, x, yeah? I particularly prefer num, number, value, rather than x. Yes, because x is a bit too generic, right? We know we are talking about numbers. Cool. Any question? No? No one? No? Cool. Question number 2. Get the first name from nested object. So we got an object, but it's a nested object, right? So one of the values of the object is another object. Yeah, so this object has 2 levels. So to get the first name, first of all, let's get the parameter object, return object dot name dot first. Yeah, that's the way you navigate. You drill down through the details of the object. Object dot name dot first, and that's it. Yeah, it works. Easy. So all good for header. Remember to remove the empty lines, right? They are unnecessary. Luigi, Bilius. So here we can see why this didn't work, right? So the way to access is just object.name.first. Yeah. Bilius did something exotic here, which is object destructuring, that we'll talk about at some point in one of the workshops. Yeah. But apart from that, you see, I like Florin and Emil semantics, person. Yeah, I know I'm talking about people. That's good. Same for Vivian. Yeah. Cool. Any question, guys? No? No one? Cool. So, question number 3. How good a student am I? So, this to see how good we play with if else, yeah? If else, if else, if else. So the way this works is, let me start from the bottom. If both scores are about 50, then display just awesome. Yeah. So best scores to cool. We can use if else, or we can use the ternary operator. Which one do you prefer? Ternary. Okay, let's do ternary. Return first score is greater or equal than 50. It's just only greater? Yes, no, it's greater or equal, right? It's all right? So if it's greater or equal than 50, and second score is greater or equal than 50, then, oops, awesome, right? Else, what else? If the first one is, if both are lower than 50, for instance, let's talk about the corner case. If first score, or let me rephrase that. If the first one is less than 50, and the second one is greater or equal to 50, it's getting better, right? Then look at how important the indentation is here. If you don't indent the code correctly, it's very hard to read. So getting better. Else, if the first score is greater or equal than 50, and the second score is lower than 50, it's getting worse, right? Getting worse. And finally, do we need any if else or not at all? No, right? We have finally the corner case, the final case, where we just display need to improve. need to improve. Yeah, something like that. What do you think, guys? Will this work or not? Should work, right? Let's see. Yes, all good. Missing semicolon. Yes, elegance at the end. So even though that's correct, I'll tell you, I'm not a big fan of that structure because that proves that the ternary operator is not always the best bet. In here, I need to spend 30 seconds of my life trying to understand the logic, right? I would rather suggest to use an if-else. Even if the solution is a bit longer, it will be more readable. Yeah, I hope you agree on that. So let me check what you did. You see, for instance, Helder, I prefer that. I prefer that. I find this more readable than what I did. As a small suggestion, I will personally move the else here. Yes? To the same line. But that's a very personal touch. Apart from that, I really like it. You see, like Bilius did, moving to one line above, it doesn't penalty the readability, I believe. It helps to keep the code a bit shorter. Yeah, so all good. Yeah, and for Florin didn't work, even though he got the idea of the structure makes sense a lot, right? He didn't return anything, so it didn't work. Vivian, so she created a variable, and then she's assigned the value, the text to that variable, and eventually she returns the variable. Yeah? Even though that's correct, of course, please remember to keep consistency on the quotes. You are here mixing double quotes and single quotes. Yeah, detail. Cool, thank you, Vivian. And all good for Sule. Nice and clean. Yeah. I will, however, suggest to surround that with curly brackets, even if they are not necessary. Yes, for good practices, I will suggest to put them all the time. Any question, guys? No?
No, I would say like in the last example, which was return statement.
Yep.
I also return something. Good practice would be on kind of another line altogether.
Yeah.
It's, you can distinguish between if-else statement and return statement.
Yep.
Because if I have to look at this one, I see 3 return statements, and another one I have to kind of read and understand.
Yep. Yeah, agree on that. Yeah, new line will help. Thank you, Bilius. And then question number 4. Ooh, is bank holiday. So we have a few bank holidays actually this week, right? In the next couple of weeks, so it's a very convenient timing. So we have an array of dates. We want to identify how many bank holidays we have. Fortunately, we don't have to calculate anything. We just have a flag that will tell us if there is a bank holiday or not. So let's use filter. With filter, we can return all the elements of an array matching a condition. So we can have return dates dot filter date dot is bank holiday. Do I have to put equals true? Not necessary, right? Because if that returns truthy, yeah, the element will be incorporated, will be returned. And then remember, because we want the size, the number of elements, to put dot length. If you want, you can move it to a new line like that. Hopefully it's slightly more readable. Yeah? Let's see if that works. Yes, it does work. So what are your proposals? So Helder, he created a variable. Oops, sorry about that. And then he returned it. So all good. Luigi, he used for off. A bit slightly more complicated, right? So he manually loop over the array, and then if he found that property, then he push it to the array of bank holidays, right? So even though that's correct, you can hopefully Luigi see that is more complicated, right? You can simplify things a bit just by using filter. Yeah. Bilius using reduce Again, a different approach, right? It's a bit more complicated than filter. Look at floating. Yeah, sort and clean. Hold on. And BBN, yeah, so she created the variable and then she returned the length. What else here? Yeah, same pattern. Yeah, for Gemil, even though, oops, sorry about that. Even though that's completely correct, I find the syntax a bit weird, Gemil, because of multiple reasons. So, generally speaking, when we create a callback function like this one, either we put it in one line, or if we want to break it, we put the date on the right-hand side, then we open parentheses or brackets, and then the condition in a new line. Yeah, I found this a bit hard to read, but all good apart from that. I think that's it. Any question? No? Right, question number 5. Question number 5, the last one. Get values. We have an object and we want to capture all the values of the object. We could use for off or even for in. However, we can use something quite sexy, which is object.values. Correct. Yeah. Even though object.keys has been supported for a while, object.values is surprisingly recent. Yeah, I think it was introduced in Node 8, which is not that old. So just by doing that, you can see it works. So object.values returns an array with the values of my object. Easy peasy. Yeah. So for Luigi, so he created a variable and then he returned the variable. I don't personally see the value of doing that. Yeah. So to me, it makes sense to create a variable if then you want to transform it, to get the length, to reverse it, to you know, whatever. But if we just create a variable to return it, generally speaking, I would suggest just to do an inline return statement. Yeah, apart from that, yeah, everyone else did pretty much the same thing, yeah? Cool, so that was it regarding beginners. No questions, right? This guy is the last time we are officially reviewing beginner. Starting from the next week, we'll focus on intermediate, and the more people place expert, we'll also give it a go. Cool. That doesn't mean that you won't be allowed to do beginner. So beginner will be still available for whoever wants to keep doing beginner challenges. Right, so let's do intermediate on the next 47 minutes. What we got today here? Question number 1. That was a gift, right? That was very easy. That was the easiest question. What was the easiest question on the intermediate program? So we got an array, and then we got to get the, just add the positive numbers. Yeah? Cool, fantastic. So we got an array of numbers, so I'll call it numbers. So then return. There are multiple ways to do that. We can use reduce, multiple ways, right? I'm going to do something. I'm going to use filter first. Why filter? Because first of all, keep the positives. Yeah? Should be greater or greater equal. What do you think? It doesn't matter actually, right? If I keep 0, we'll be adding 0. Yeah. Just for performance, this is very, very, you know, subtle. For performance, it's better not to keep the 0 because then we'll save some iterations on the loop, potentially, on the next loop. And now we can use reduce. Yeah. So with reduce, total plus number, and that's it. Yeah. Remember how reduce works. So let's put a comma 0 first. So on the first iteration, let's put the first example. So this is our array, 3, 1, and 5. Yeah. On the first iteration, I'll be doing that many, many, many times. What's the value of total? 0. Correct. What's the value of number? 3. Return? 3. Return 3. Correct. Iteration 1. What's the value? Wait a minute. What's the value of total? 3, correct. What's the value of number? 5, correct. What do we return? 8, yeah? Which is correct. And now, what happens if we remove 0? I'm removing the default value of the accumulator. So let's start again. Iteration C1. What's the value of total? 3. 3 or 1? 1? 3. What's the value of number? 3 or 5? Okay, let's assume it's 3. What do we return? 6. Iteration 2. What's the value of total? 6. What's the value of number? 5. What do we return? Is that correct? So we did something wrong somewhere, right? What is the problem? Which line? In which line the problem is? Line 9. No, line 10, correct. Remember, if we don't pass any default value, the accumulator will refer to the first value. That's why total will be 3, but then obviously the number will be the next element. So number will be 5. Yeah? So after the first iteration, we return 8. What happened on the second iteration? It's done. There is no second iteration at all. In other words, if we remove the default value, we are avoiding one iteration. Yeah? Remember that not always works fine. If you remember the board challenge of the last week. Yeah? But anyway, that's pretty much it. So let's run it. All good. Yeah? And now, interestingly, I think I've closed your code. So let me open it again. And then we'll see. Let me take a few seconds. Yeah, so I'll have a look at your code as soon as possible. Unfortunately, I close it. Yeah, but anyway, let's have a look to question number 2 meantime. So get days of the month. That was one of the trickiest questions, yeah? So we have a date, a human-friendly date is, and we want to see how many days the given month has. Yeah? That's a bit tricky. Yeah, I cannot get at the moment. It's taking a while to get the, oh, here you go, sorry. Yeah, let's wait before getting deep into the second question. Let's wait until we get the scores for the first one, so then we can review it. Here we go. So intermediate. What's that? Yeah. Okay, we'll have a look later on, Sule. Right. So back to question number 1. So Lucia, she got the positives and then she added them, right? Which is absolutely valid. It's a different style. Nico.
I found it online, I have to say. Yeah, it's a solution I found online.
Yeah, but so Nico has 2 problems. Here, he starts losing the challenge by missing some valuable points on the elegance. That line is probably too long, yeah? This fix was as easy, as simple as adding a break line before dot filter and before dot reduce. Yeah. Also, I don't like the semantics. Array, X. We know we're dealing with numbers, right? So just call them numbers. It will help. Accumulator, I find particularly wrong people calling accumulator. Yeah? It should describe what sort of information it hosts, not what it represents technically speaking. Remember, we're coding for humans. Right, for instance, spelling, that's more readable, yeah? That's more readable. Numbers, filter, reduce, all good. There is an extra parenthesis here, which is unnecessary, and the comma 0 is unnecessary as well, right? But apart from that, all good. For Wendy, it's perfect. It's literally perfect. And here didn't work because, well, that structure is not correct, right? We could have used reduce, I'm not against that, but then we will have needed an if else. If number is greater than 0, return total plus number. Otherwise, return total. For bucket, again, semantics. ST, I don't know what ST is, right? It's hard to read, bucket. Also. Yeah, you know that, but also, so bucket, double space here, and even more importantly, pose. What pose is? This variable hasn't been declared. So probably she got a penalty here as well. For Walter, can anyone see any penalty issue for Walter? Yes, indentation. That's wrong, Walter. You keep 4 extra or 1 extra tab here, yeah? For Gawa, so he kept, so he kept the positives, and then he add them, and then he returned the result of adding them, yeah? Which is still okay. It's a bit complicated, but all good, yeah? For Davide, remember, every time you deal with array operations, add a break line. It will clearly help. Someone, I don't know who was that, look at what Wendy did. To me, that code is perfect because it's very readable. First filter, then reduce, right? I can see the 2 steps quite easily. In your code, it's a bit harder to realize that first I filter and then I reduce. And also semantics, A and B. Don't call A and B, don't call array, guys. Cool, for Luigi. It's Gawa style, right? So he has an array. Yeah, so to me, the usage of map here is wrong. Because map, remember, returns something. He's not capturing the return of that code, right? In other words, if he wants to do that, for each will be better. It will describe better what you want to do, right? Anyway, he has an array of positives. So you can see all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines could be done using array.filter, yeah, in one line. So then he adds the positives, and then he returns them. Oh, and there is another function here, yeah, which is also overcomplicated, right? It's positive. You can just return number greater than 0, yeah? It's valid, it's okay, but how you see that, you know, is a bit boilerplating. And Sule, I can see what you mentioned before, so that wasn't submitted as weird, even though it's correct. Thanks for letting me know. We'll check the logs later on. Cool. Any question, guys? No? Okay, so let's have a look to the second one. Get days of the month. So we have a date, so we want to see, yeah, for instance, in March 2021, how many days we have? 31, right? Actually, every March has 31 days. However, in February, it's not that easy, right? Yeah, some Februaries have 28 days, some February have 29. Not that easy, not that easy. So, first of all, we got a date. as an argument. Something you'll see I do a lot is when there is some confusion about the type of data date is, I used to suffix it or prefix it, date string. So then I know that's a string with a date. So my plan is, I would like to capture the month and the year. I don't care about the day, to be honest. The day is not going to affect the number of days of that month and year. So I'll try to capture the month and the year. And then with JavaScript, there is something called getDate. Date.getDate that gives you how many days that date has. Yeah, it's a bit confusing. Anyway, first of all, how do we capture the day and not the day? How do we capture the month and how do we capture the year of data string? Yes. In a different scenario, we could use a date object. We could create a date object and do get day and get month. However, again, because code comes from America, yeah, that date format is invalid for them. So it's not that simple. My first attempt will be to do let date equals new date. That doesn't work. You try that. Yeah, dates. They're in American format, right? Not sure if it's even American format. Anyway, it's year, then month, then day. So anyway, that approach doesn't work. So we need to parse the date as a string, yeah, which is not that complicated actually, because I can create a variable called date tokens, and then let's get the free tokens, split hyphen, yeah. So my month, how do I get the month? Date tokens what? Square brackets 1. Yeah? It's an array. And the year, how do we get the year? 2, correct. Based on that, now I can do return, new date. I can build a new date based on year, month. Do we care about the day? No, I'll put 0. Dot get date. Something like that. I'm not 100% sure if that will work. I'm 83% sure. So let's evaluate it. It does work. Yeah. It's not that complicated. It's a bit tricky. Yeah, I understand it's a bit tricky. Anyway, 2 steps. First of all, capture the month and the year, and then create a new date object, taking that day, that month and that year, and then get the date. So get date returns a number. It could be 28, 29, 30, or 31. Yes? Cool. So, yep.
It's not given in an array.
Yeah.
Why can you use split? I thought that was only for no.
Split is for strings, right? We got a string. Yeah. Cool. So, Nico, he did something very similar, right? Yeah. Again, another unacceptable elegance issue here.
Why?
Console.log.
Because it's quick.
You got a penalty for that.
Yeah, sorry. No, that anyway, I meant to say that is the line I found online, not the solution before. I thought you were.
But that's literally the same thing we did, right?
The date get date method I didn't know.
Yeah. It's literally the same thing. But again, please look after the semantics. I'm very lazy to understand your purpose, right? So try to explain what type of data you're dealing with.
I have another opinion on that.
Yeah.
I know it's lazy and this is like old school bad practice, but like if I see str or
Yeah.
r or num,
Yeah.
it kind of defines. It's not super elegant to the new times, like using
Yeah.
97
Yeah.
letter character.
Yeah.
But it still gets to the point. I
Yeah.
know it's not x.
What's the difference between X and R?
X doesn't define the type.
Yeah.
It's a type.
Okay. Fair enough, Bilius.
It's better than completely wrong.
Cool. Sexy Walter in action, yeah. Day of month 31, comma, 28, comma. Yeah.
It's like when you get the name of the month, for example. You get the date, the number.
What do you do about the leap year?
So, yeah, we can spend hours talking about these three lines of code, right? So, first thing is I really like that line. I think that line is really good. Instead of parsing getting access to the first token, the second token, what he does is, okay, he splits it, then he reverses it, then it's a valid date format, then he joins it again, so then he can use new date. Yeah, so because we have a date object, we can do date.get month and date.get full year. That's fine. However, the next line is creepy, right? That won't work in many circumstances. Yeah. So what happens when the year has 366 days? That won't work at all. Yeah. Cool. Anyways, he found an answer, right? Which is better than nothing, I believe. Cool. Any questions, guys? No? Cool. Get the palindromes. That's a good one. Yeah. That's one of my favorite questions. And this is one of the reasons why I love intermediate challenges, because they are not as complicated as expert. They are not as simple as beginner. I said nothing so far. The thing is, they talk about, I don't know, real world issues, right? You have to think a bit about it. Yeah. So what are we trying to find here? We're trying to find words, not even words actually, strings, could be words, could be sentences, whatever. But they are palindromes, right? So that means that if you reverse them, they are the same. But to make it a bit more complicated, the exercise is, please ignore casing and spaces. Yeah, this is a good example. A Santa at NASA. If you reverse it, it's the same, but the case don't match. So we need to normalize the tokens a bit. Yeah, cool. And to make it even more complicated, we can have more than one palindrome, right? This is a good example. We got 1 and 2. So if that's the case, we have to join them. Yeah? Use the comma. Correct. So I'll call it strings because I don't know if they are words, sentences. I cannot, I don't know. Yeah. So then I will do return strings. I will use filter. So I want to filter the palindrome ones, and then I want to join them with comma space. As you can see, I'm not following a chronological or even a logical order. Yes, I'm just narrowing the issue. So now on the filter, I got a string. So now all the complexity is on defining how to filter a palindrome. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to first of all get the original string, then I'll get the reverse string, and eventually return original string equal reverse string. Yeah. So now the problem is in this line, and especially particularly on that line, right? So the original string, I want to normalize it because we want to ignore spaces and case. So to ignore case, I can just convert it to lowercase, for instance. You can convert everything to capitals if you want. And then, how do we remove the spaces? Well, split, correct. We can use split and join, fair enough. Or, because you already know that, we can use replace. Ah, yeah. we can use replace. And with replace, we can use a regular expression as part of the intermediate training, I believe, right? So the way it works is, okay, what do we want to find? Space. G, meaning find all the spaces, comma, and replace them with an empty string. Because I want to do the same thing for that one, and maybe we may need something else, I'm going to create a function. I don't want to duplicate code at all. So function get normalize string. So I will essentially do the same thing. Yeah? Why? Because I don't have to type the same thing twice. And now, on the other one, I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, I can reuse it. So got the original string, and then I want to reverse it. Yes? Because I want to reverse it, you can split. Do we need any argument in the split? No? Interesting. And then what? And then what? And again with no arguments. According to... Yeah? Okay. Let's try it. It doesn't work. And it doesn't work because... Correct. When using a split and join, you should always pass an argument, right? In that case, an empty string. It doesn't know how to split, correct. However, if you put that, it does work like a charm, yeah? So, it's not that complicated. Again, string, filter, at the end you join. So then, yes, compare two strings, right? One against the same one reversed. But we should look after spaces and case. Any question?
Yes.
Yep.
I don't understand why it's doing the last join.
What last?
Where you have quantity at the bottom.
At the bottom, yeah?
No, on the first function. Sorry.
On the first function?
Yeah, the last join.
The last join?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. That's a good question. Because on the last example, Sule,
Yes.
we got more than one palindromes, yes?
Yes.
So then the exercise is asking us to join them with comma and space. That's a string, yeah? That's why with join, remember, you can join arrays using...
If not, you will get all the pieces together.
Correct. If you don't use join, what type of data will be returning?
A single string?
No, wrong. An array. Because of the filter. Filter always returns an array. Remember what Gray explained a couple of weeks ago. Yeah?
Because I didn't check the sense. I spent a lot of time for
Yeah.
the code, not putting the code.
Nope.
What is that?
Classic, yeah? JavaScript is about...
The regular expression.
Yep. Cool. So what you did here, Nico? Another penalty, yeah? You see the way he was creating the channel for David the victory, yeah?
It's due to time, maybe pressure as well. Just trying to
You can put console logs,
get it done.
but yeah, but before submitting, remove them, don't leave them there. Also,
Again, sorry.
yeah, indentation issues. Yeah.
So I created another array to push all the results instead of using
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit long,
So you created another array. Why?
which wasn't necessary.
No, it wasn't necessary because we are not modifying any array. So our function is, I deleted, sorry. Our function is pure, right? We were not modifying any array, filter and join. So you created a copy of the array, and then you iterate, and then you essentially check if the original string is the same as the reverse string.
Yeah.
which is pretty much the same thing, but again, I have big concerns about readability. Yeah? Eventually you push the palindrome, and finally you
The original actually went down there and input
you
I-
push the original. Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's a bit messy, right? Still correct though. It's good to see you found the answer, Nico. For Walter, why? I don't know what's that, right? Why? So Walter has a nested function, palindrome checker, that he probably copied from Stack Overflow. No?
I swear to God. It's not check.
No, really?
No,
Okay.
I swear to God.
No, question, but
He's a genius.
is it Stack Overflow? It could be just Google of some sort.
I checked that in Stack Overflow, but
You
Saturday
see, you see, you see, you see?
And the line
by
I said,
step is
IW.
the only line I copied was that one. It was like 3-4 days ago.
Yeah.
No, if W dot I at the end, W,
So what does
W
W represent?
W is a word.
It's a word.
W is a word.
You already used the word there.
Right, I'm too lazy today to review that, Walter.
Basically, what it does in the top code.
Yeah?
I'm checking that function, what it does, it takes just a word, And what it's saying is, it's exactly the same, the first index of the letter and the last one.
Yeah, but
I'm checking, if it's not the same, it returns false. At the end of the for loop, it's okay, that it didn't return false, okay, return true. And I use that inside a filter, basically. It's a bit weird, yeah, I didn't find any other way to do it.
New
It's
word.
not really necessary, yeah. But it works. See, it's easy.
Yeah, it does. Cool. Thank you, Walter. Davide. So, filter.
Was the regular expression. So I didn't know to, and you don't need to put the space.
Yeah, so he's removing the space and converting to lowercase. Then he has another word. So and then he compared them. So it's pretty much similar to what we did. Yeah, remember. Yeah. You can just return the expression.
Yeah.
So you can do dot filter, dot join.
I tried to do the without losing my in an error, so
Yep.
there were no times I could display.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Davide. Question number 4. We've got 17 minutes left. That's a good one. Get the user's average score. Yes, that was easy. That was the rest operator. Correct, the rest operator or rest parameter. So, how many arguments do we have? 2, wrong.
Verbal length.
Yeah.
variable.
Yeah, it's a variable. It's at least 2, as Billy said, right? It's a variable name of arguments. Because of that, what we know is that the first one is what? String. No, not a string. Yeah, it's a string, but tell me the argument name.
It's a name.
It's a name, okay. And the second one? Scores? Dot, 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 scores. So with dot, 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 we are gathering. Yeah, we're creating an array with all the numbers. Yeah. I got a question for you. What happens if we have the name of the player at the end? So will that work? You get the idea, right? Could be a good exercise, right? Or the other way around. That's not supported in JavaScript 2019 yet.
Because I found it get the score of this in the workshop.
Yeah,
And we try to
yeah, correct.
The last element of the
Yeah, correct. So if what we have is on the other way around, if we have the name at the end, we have to gather everything and then slice the last element, which is correct. Yeah, it's a bit like that. And the thing is, we want to return the average score for it's capital. Yeah. So the average score for name is, we'll see, right? Average. So now, let's create the average function. So I'm going to create another utility function to keep my code clean, tidy, and readable. So I'll pass the list of scores. So how do we get the average, guys? Reduce. Scores dot reduce what?
Reduce. I don't know, score.
Score? No, wrong. I'm not going to call the first argument score. Total, wrong. I don't want to get the total. Average, correct. And the second argument? Score, correct. You see, readability.
Okay, so
And then what?
Score.
Average plus score.
And outside the brackets.
And outside the brackets here,
No. Close and
divide by.
close.
close what?
Then you have to return.
Close average plus score. Close the bracket.
I close the bracket below. Divided by
The length of the
scores, the length, like that. Okay, let's do a test. If my numbers are 2, 4, and 6, to keep the numbers easy, yeah? No, sorry, win 3 and 5.
average plus score and then divided by.
We'll see, we'll see.
And
Iteration 1.
comma what, 0.
Wait. Iteration 1. What's the value of average? What's the value of score? 3. Correct. What are we returning? So return 1.333.
Returning 2.
Return 2. Why 2, Luigi?
Because first the divisor operator has the present on the plus.
Correct.
So first you divide the score
Correct.
by the left.
Luigi is completely right. So first we'll do 3 divided by 3, 1, plus 1, 2. So we return 2. And then iteration number 2. What happened on iteration number 2? What's the average? Correct, it's 2. What's the score? 5, correct. What do we return? We return 2 plus 5 divided by 3.
3.7.
Yeah, which is something like 1.7 whatever. So that will say that the average is 3.7. Is that correct? No. 3.7 is clearly not the average of 1, 3, and 5.
Average plus score and then
Average plus score. Okay, average plus score and they divided by scores of length. Let's start again.
so we do close and
Average.
close that.
What's the first average? 1. Score. 3. Return. 4/5, right? No, 4/3. Yeah? 1 plus 3. 4 divided by 3. 4/3. Iteration 2. What's the average? 4/3, correct. What's the score? 5. Return 4/3 plus 5, and all together divided by 3. Yeah? Let's ask our friend Google. Wrong. That's not the average. So, what else do you suggest? 0. Okay, let's put 0. So then, iteration 1, what's the average? 0. What's the score? 1. Return? 1/3. All right, 1/3. Iteration 2, average. 1/3. And then the score, 3. Return. 1/3 plus 3 divided by 3, right? So this is the same as 4/3 divided by 3, and 4/3 divided by 3 is 0.4. That's not looking good, eh? But anyway, let's continue. Iteration 3, average. The same thing, right? Score. 5, correct. Return. 0.4 plus 5 divided by 3. Well, we should add first, right? So we add the operands first, and then we divide it by 3. 1.8. It's getting worse. Right, let's solve it. I'll show you 2 ways to solve it. The first one, which is the one that I believe you already know, is, we did it on the board challenge, correct, is dividing, first of all, calculating the total, yeah? And then, once you got the total, you divide it by scores.length, yeah? Or, if you want to do it inline, which is very sexy, the problem here is score plus scores.length. The parentheses were on the wrong, sorry, not plus, divided. So the parentheses were in the wrong place, and we need the default value. That was the issue. Let's see if that works. Iteration 1, average. Let me rename it. It's not total, right? Average. Average. What's the value? 0, correct. Score. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 3, 5, sorry. 1, 3, 5. Score 1. Return. Zero plus 1 divided by 3. And that's what? 1/3, right? Okay, iteration 2. So what we got on iteration 2? We got average, not the average, sorry. Yeah, average. 1/3, right? Score. 3. Return. So average, which is 1/3, plus number or score 3 divided by 3, which is 1, right? So 1/3 plus 1 is 2. Is that right? Does it make sense? Correct. Iteration 3, average. 4/3, right? Number, score. 5. Return. 4/3 plus 5 divided by 3. 4/3 plus 5/3 equals 9/3. Yeah? Remember that in school long time ago? For some of you, not that long time ago. Right? And 9/3, I hope you agree with me, is 3. Yeah? So that works. So please reduce, spend as much years of your life as necessary. Yeah? It's the most important method in modern JavaScript, under my point of view. Yeah? So that will give us the average. However, is the problem sorted or not? Should be.
Oh, you have to print the string.
Yeah, it's there. The average score is blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's see what happened. That won't work, guys. Ooh, whoa. Right. So we got few issues here. Few issues. The what? Wendy, I cannot hear you.
In the scores, with reduce, you need to return it.
Correct. What is our getAverage function returning?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, remember.
You need to go there and
Return. Yeah? Or, yeah, please, parentheses. That's it. Yeah? Now, however, it won't work yet. Can anyone see why? No? Probably now you can see that easily. That thing, yeah? What? Mat.floor. Why .floor? Why you want the lower one?
Because it's 66.
Yeah, and what?
Do a shift, I can have more.
Why don't we do round and that's it?
Correct.
Simply round.
Correct. Unless the exercise is clearly giving you explicit instructions, I will personally use round. It sounds a more natural way, yeah, to calculate an average, rounding rather than flooring. Cool. Math dot round. Yeah. Right. Let's see if that works. It does work. Yeah. Cool. So I think it's time's up now, but in the last minute, let me have a quick look to your code. So, for Nico, yes, parse int.
Okay, get an integer out.
We'll talk about parse int. We'll talk about parse int. But parse int is effectively floating the number. Yeah? So do you know what parse int is? It transforms a string into a number, right? Does anyone know any other way to transform strings into numbers?
Plus.
Not class.
No.
What is correct. We can use number with capital N. So one of my favorite questions on every job interview is, what's the difference between number and parse int? Which one do you prefer and why? We'll talk about that. Yeah? But long story short, I wouldn't use parse int unless you have a very, very good reason. Cool. So yeah, apart from that, yeah, again, you are creating a copy of the array. I don't really know why, because we are not modifying the original array, so that feels a bit unnecessary. So you calculate the average, and then you just round this. So it's pretty much the same thing in a more compact way, yeah? And then on the left-hand side, we've got spelling, use floor, yeah? Scores, reduce, so she's getting the average, and then the floor, right? Same thing. We got Walter. Why you? I don't know why you tend to copy all the arrays. We don't modify the arrays, right? Because the thing is, when you do that, it looks like you don't want to change the original array, but you'll never change the original array. So you try to do something that you don't need. Yeah? Yeah? So don't copy the arrays. Extra nothing. It's extra nothing. It's extra nothing. It's extra nothing. It's unnecessary. Yeah? The thing is, if you need that extra safety, it's because you are not sure of what you are doing, right?
No, there is extra space in memory.
Extra space in memory. Okay.
Because you are creating.
Correct. So there are no advantages. Right? Cool. And then apart from that, so again, you are floating. Look at the indentation, Walter. That looks horrible to me. Sorry about that. What was that? Oh, you're dividing by that, right? So if you want to do that, move things around after the parentheses. I don't know. Create a function. Yeah. Readability. Gawa. You see, Gawa is still more readable. So number count. I will say is to use camel case. Yeah. Capital C Gawa. Yeah. And also remember. Sorry, no. You have the bracket on the right hand side. No, that's fine. So he gets the total, then he gets the average. Yeah. So this is very academic approach. Baby steps. Yeah. All good apart from the empty space, empty line. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. And Davide, so he's getting the number again. Oh, yeah. Something I don't really like here is number is originally an array, but then he transformed it into a number. Yeah, you're mutating the variable. Number is an array, but then here is an integer. It's a number. Yeah. Not even that. It's a float number because that could return decimals. So please create a new variable for readability purposes. And then eventually he's doing the method round inline, which is perfectly fine, of course. For Luigi, total, then average, yeah, so all good. And then for Vivian, so what Vivian did here, average for off, interesting, right? So with for off is an alternative to get all the values, which is perfectly fine, so it's all good. And then she gets the average using floor, and then she displays it. Yes, all good, Vivian. Cool, we're out of time, guys. So yeah, we've reviewed 4 questions actually, so it wasn't that bad. Again, on next Monday, probably we'll review intermediate from scratch, end to end. Thank you, guys.